What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to FudgeMuppet. My name is Scott, and today we are exploring all of the unique named creatures of Skyrim. Now, as you know, there are many types of creatures: saber cats, wolves, foxes, frostbite spiders, bears, horses, mammoths, the works. There are a lot of creatures, and occasionally you may find that you come upon some uniquely named creatures with a name. So today I'm going to tell you all about these creatures with a name and where to find them. Just throwing it out there now, I am not including named Draga or Hagravens, as I feel they are less creature and more undead or sentient warped human, if you know what I mean. Also, there is the dog Barbus, who is in actual fact a counterpart to the Daedric Prince Clavix, so he isn't really a creature as such, so we can just push him to the side as well. But that aside, let's start with the first named creatures. First up, we have a unique bristleback named Bileschmuck. Bristlebacks are these boar-like creatures that inhabit the island of Solstheim, and they are often found being ridden by Reiklings charging into battle. Now, interestingly enough, this particular bristleback is involved in a quest given to you by the Reiklings if you choose to help them keep Thirskmead Hall. This quest taking place on Solstheim means it is part of the Dragonborn DLC, so you will need that to witness this boorish beast, and the quest involves you simply using meat to lure the boar back to his pen so the Reiklings can have their favourite bristleback back. Next, we have an iconic duo, a pair that came from the Dawnguard DLC, what seems to be the only pair of huskies in Skyrim. We have Bran and Liang. These two dogs kitted out in Dawnguard protective gear are recruitable companions when you side with the Dawnguard. A cool fact about these two is that their names are taken from the Irish legends of Finn McCool, who had two warhounds named Bran and Liang. Next, we have another iconic duo of the same Dawnguard DLC. We are talking about the couple of cute little deathhounds residing in the Volkihar Castle, who are available for use by the Dragonborn, if you side with the vampires. These two death doggies are called Garma and Kusith. These cute courtly pups have their names rooted in real-world mythology, with Garma being a blood-coloured hound who guards the gates of hell in Norse mythology, and Kusith is a large ghostly hound associated with death in Scottish mythology. But enough for the dogs for a bit, let's look at a gnarly creature. This would have to be one of the most unappealing pets that you could have, but apparently some folks like to have frostbite spiders as pets. Liz is a frostbite spider tamed and kept in the Dark Brotherhood sanctuary of Falkreath, owned by Gabriella, the dark elf who likes killing unicorns on a beach with a needle. The spider pet thing kind of makes sense now. Liz doesn't do too much, she just sort of sits there, but there is a little interesting piece of info. There in her pen lies the skeletal remains of a Breton named Gaston Belafort, who is the author of the book The Night Mother's Truth. The note on the remains tells of how he was spying on the Dark Brotherhood, perhaps to get material for his new book, but it seems he just ended up becoming Liz's lunch. Poor dude. Now time for a fatty, weighing hundreds of pounds, bigger than the Big Show. We have the new member of the WWE, Lord Tusk. This fat bastard is a hawker twice the size of the normal ones you would find elsewhere. This dude can be found on Hawker Island in Solstheim, once again in the Dragonborn DLC. This big unit is hella large Marge and has a lot more levels, a lot more health, and a lot more stamina than your usual Hawker medium-sized Marvin. This crazy blubber Tusk is actually a cold-hearted killer, with his den surrounded with bloody skulls, and then when you kill him, he has 4 skulls in the heart of his belly, so watch out for Lord Tusk. Now, for someone equally terrifying, on the island of Solstheim, you will have to travel to the location known as North Shore Landing, and right here you can find the pants-pissing, bone-shaking, super scary old salty, a mud crab. This mud crab is probably a reference to the merchant mud crab of Morrowind, who is an alcoholic, and you can actually talk to him and buy alcohol from him, mainly because when you kill Old Salty, you can loot gold, a tankard, and shoes from his corpse. With Solstheim being full of Morrowind references, I would guess that this was another one. When the Hearthfire DLC was released, there was a brand new feature where you could adopt a child, so you could have your own special imaginary family. Well, apparently adoption is contagious because when you adopt a child, they can adopt a pet that varies from a few different options. If you adopted a male child, they in turn can later adopt a tiny skeever called Biter or a mud crab named Pincer. If you adopt a female child, they can in turn adopt a tiny baby snow fox named Vix, a red fox named Kit, or a rabbit called Cotton. So if you want your house filled with the contents of the forest, then adopt some children and spread the infectious adoption virus. I wonder what it is with kids and weird pets. Why can't they just want a dog, like all of these other fine fellows? Frodnar of Riverwood has a dog called Stump, who is often seen wandering around with the kids of the village. He looks like an Irish wolfhound, as is the case with most of the dogs in Skyrim. Erith of Left Hand Mine owns a dog named Torum. Not much else in this one, but if you go to Holyfrost Farm outside of Windhelm, Torsten Cruelsea has 2 dogs named after Nordic heroes. One pup is named Tiber, after Tiber Septim, aka Talos, and the other is named Isgramor, the first Nordic king who came with his 500 companions to avenge the fallen by fighting the Snow Elves. If you've ever been to Riften and spoken to this unfortunate looking guy in the Bee and Barb Tavern, you will know that he offers a quest called Promises to Keep. It involves meddling with Blackbriar affairs and stealing a particularly unique horse named Frost. When you steal and return this horse, you do have the option to keep the horse through some threatening or persuasion, but either way, this horse has a cool blonde colour and has more health and stamina than most horses, but not more than the infamous Shadowmere, who I suppose we should talk about right now. Shadowmere is the infamous shadowy and magical horse granted to the player at the beginning of the quest Cure for Madness. Now essentially you have to do the Dark Brotherhood questline up to that point in order to receive this horse, but it may very well be worthwhile because he is one of the coolest looking horses in the game. With his shadowy black coat and glowing red eyes, he also has higher health regeneration, and stamina than all the other horses of Skyrim. He makes his return from Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion and is just an iconic assassin's companion. While we are on the topic of the Dark Brotherhood and the Dark Brotherhood questline, that particular quest where you get Shadowmere, called a Cure for Madness, you also encounter another unique creature equally terrifying but not also friendly. Prepare for me to potentially butcher this name, but Udafract is a unique troll with large olive green goldy eyes, dark green hair and grey purplish skin. Kinda reminds me of the Joker's colour scheme. So this unique troll is in an ice cave in the Dawnstar Sanctuary. In the Norwegian language, Uda means beast and Frikt means fear, so the name roughly sounds like beast fear in Norwegian, which makes sense when you look at it. In previous Elder Scrolls games like the Blood Moon expansion of Morrowind, the Udafract was a troll-like beast who uses a Nord's dismembered leg as a weapon, and in Oblivion there is a troll called the Udafract Matron which lurks in the high country of northeastern Cyrodiil, known as the Horror of Dive Rock. Anyways, back to the Udafract at hand. It is mentioned by Cicero that the ice cave was actually not originally part of the sanctuary, but a forced addition, indicating that the Udafract made the cave itself, which is pretty terrifying. Vastly less terrifying and kinda sad is this poor little fox named Pumpkin. In South Fringe Sanctum, you'll find this little fox in a cage with the corpse of a chicken and some roasted meat. It seems he is being kept as a pet by the resident spell swords here. It is very likely that this is a direct reference to Fallout 3's Pumpkin, which is a mole rat being kept in a cage in the Jury Street tunnels. Speaking of pets, would you want a goat? Well, you actually can't have one, but I can tell you who does have a pet goat, and that would be the child named Clinton Lviv. The Breton child of the town's Dragon's Bridge patrols the area with his pet goat named Lucky. But that's not all the named goats. I know of one more named Gleda the Goat, who is featured in one of the most memorable quests in Skyrim, A Night to Remember. When you embark on a drunken rampage with Sam Guinevere, you wake up the day after and must retrace your steps to find him. You apparently kidnapped Gelda the Goat along the way and sold her to Grok the Giant, so you have to get her back. To get Gelda back for Ennis, you must kill Grok the Giant, so be ready. And for the last bit of puppy fever in this video, we have to talk about the famous Miko. When strolling through the woods of Yormark, you may come across a barking dog who leads you to a little shack called Miko's Shack. There, he leads you to find his deceased owner, and you realize Miko is all by himself, and it's so sad. So naturally, you adopt him and bring him along as your faithful doggy companion, also reloading your save whenever he dies. You can even send him to your Hearthfire home if you want him to be safe, and give him a nice, permanent house with a nice warm fire. Finally, the last named creature on this list is Nimhi, the giant frostbite spider of Nuchan Zel excavation site. Nimhi in Irish Gaelic translates to poison, and funnily enough, the workers of the excavation site have named her the Poisoned One. Calcimo in Markarth tasks you with killing this beast, and when you do, you are to be rewarded with the keys to the Dwemer Museum and the excavation site, which is also neat. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, every named creature in Skyrim. I hope you learnt of one that you didn't previously know about, and be sure to let me know if I missed one, but remember, I wasn't counting Draga or Hagravens or Barbas. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe for more Elder Scrolls and Bethesda goodness. My name is Scott from FudgeMuppet. Social media links are in the description. Thanks again, and I'll be back to nerd out with you next time.